Hello there, everybody. My name is Kevin Sylvester, and I am an author and an illustrator of many books. Here's just a sample of them. And I am also the creator of this year's webcomic for the TD Summer Reading Club. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the way that I came up with the characters and how I had to make the characters move. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration about how I draw. So for example, just to go down to the main characters. So there's a kid named Sam. So this is Sam here. Just a quick drawing of Sam. And Sam loves reading. My goodness, does Sam love reading. And the one problem for Sam, as far as Splonks is concerned, this is Splonks, is that Sam only has 2 arms. Here. Yay, I have 2 arms, says Sam. It's a very quick, goofy version of Sam and Splonks, who is the, I guess, alien, but although I guess Sam would count as an alien to Splonks, which Splonks is very quick to point out. And usually when Sam is holding something, it is a book. Like I said, Sam loves books. And they are at an academy known as STARS. And STARS is a place where dreams can come true. It's like a summer camp with all sorts of fun stuff to do. Now, you'll notice that I'm drawing these characters in a way that they look like they're moving a little bit. Now, I want to show you the way that I used to draw. I'm just going to show you an early example of a character who's very similar in some ways to Splonks as a kind of a monster, alien, round, eggy shaped thing, and that is George Fuzzbop. Now, this is a character that I came up with when I was a kid, when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And the thing that I don't like about George is that George looks completely flat, motionless. So what I do is when I'm going to start drawing my characters now, what I did with George, let me just go back and give you another drawing demonstration, is that I would sit and try to draw George perfectly. Get every hair on his head perfect, and then I try and draw the eyes perfectly. I mean, this looks like somebody, squashed up some scrambled eggs on a tennis ball. Horrible. And I'd cross it out. So what I learned to do is figure out that what my mistake was trying to get everything perfect when I drew George. So I don't do that anymore. So if I wanted to draw, so for example, let's go back to Splonks. Splonks is essentially this kind of a shape. So in the Splonks' eye is sort of this kind of a shape. So if I'm going to draw Splonks, I'm going to draw this first. 8 legs, or 6 legs, I think, actually. And like that. Now, you'll notice that this is pretty messy, and I sort of drew the shape first, and I drew Splonks with the arms hanging down a little bit like a space octopus. So what I would do is I would add a layer on top of that layer, and I would make this layer a little bit lighter, and then I would say, okay, on the top layer, now I'm going to draw just the lines I want to keep. And I'd also fix some stuff, like I'd make the mouth a little bit more aware, and I'd draw the head down like this. Now, here's where I would start to make decisions. So you'll notice that in the original drawing, Splonks isn't doing much, just the kind of legs are dangling down. So why not give Splonks something to do? Like, for example, fly a spacecraft, which is Splonks' dream. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever. So no wonder Splonks looks so happy. And then I would just draw the ship underneath like this, sort of like a big hot dog bun. And then I would get rid of this. And now I have, yay, all the arms are involved. The steering wheel for the spaceship would come like this. And then I could put stars up like this. Now, that was all by drawing a very quick shape first and sort of getting the character into position. So not trying to get every single thing right and doing little sketchy lines, but being very loose and goosey in the way that I'm drawing. So let's do a little demonstration about Sam. So this is a little bit, when I'm drawing Splonks, I'm talking about doing shapes. Now, Let me get rid of that. And I will draw Sam. Oops. So if I said to you, I want you to draw somebody holding a book or opening a book, you might go, okay, I will have a person here. So I'll draw Sam a little bit, or sort of a looser version of Sam, holding a book that might open like this. There's the book binding. There's the book pages. They are open. Fine. That's whatever. That's okay. Standing like this, I suppose. Now, the problem with this is that there's not a lot of action. Now, this is where I love comic books, and I love the way that artists, great artists through the ages, would make characters look like they're moving in a more interesting way. So this is, for example, in the Sistine Chapel in Rome, which is a very famous, I'd like to call it a giant comic book on the ceiling. The great artist Michelangelo drew characters doing things that on their face are not that interesting, but by twisting and turning them and making them look like they're in motion, he made even the most kind of boring thing like opening a book look dramatic. Look, for example, here he goes, bending the character. All this character is doing is opening a book, but her back is bent, her arms are bent, her head is bent over, her legs are at an angle. Everything about it is absolutely in action. So I'm not going to draw, going back to the drawing, I'm not going to draw Sam just standing like this. Let's draw Sam walking a little bit, as they do in one of the pictures in the webcomic, holding a big stack of books. So again, I'm just roughing in the shapes first, roughing in the shapes, and Sam is struggling a little bit, and they might be bending under the weight of carrying all these books. Now notice how I'm bending their shapes, their legs first before I start to add the detail. So this is how I would do that. Bend characters dramatically. If you want to break it down to a stick figure, it would be a little like this, carrying this big stack of heavy books like this. And bending stick figures is a great way to figure out how your characters should move first, and then adding detail up on top of that. So this would be the rough version, and you'll see in a second I'll show you the clean finished version, which looks a little bit more. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with using an eraser to try and get everything right, like the position of the arms and the books and the space boots that Sam is wearing, all that stuff. That's the rough. And now here's the final version. So there would be a couple of tips I would give you. I love illustrating my books, but I always had trouble when I was a kid making my characters move. Here's George Fuzzbop again. I learned to start bending stick figures and bending my characters, making them look more like they are in dramatic action. And the more you bend your characters, the more they move. So there's just a very quick tutorial, I don't know, a quick little drawing exercise, a little bit of fun that I have when I'm drawing, and I hope you get a kick out of it too. And I hope you draw some bendy stick figures and space aliens and kids who love to read and spaceships and all that amazing stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.